Hey, good morning, West Coasters. Good afternoon, East Coasters. Welcome, welcome. Let's give it a minute or so to get everyone a chance to get signed in, and then we'll get rolling here. While we're waiting for a couple seconds here, I'm just curious to know, where is everybody from? So if you don't mind, drop it in the chat box where you are from. I'm up in the Northeast here. Do we have the chat box rolling? Columbia. All right. Central Florida. I'd love to have your weather. But while you guys are popping in the chat box where you're from, just a couple housekeeping rules before we do get started here today. We like to keep these webinars super interactive. So keep the comments rolling. Feel free to ask some questions. And we'll also have a few polls throughout the session that we'll be sending out to you all. For some reason, if we cannot get to all of your questions live today, we will answer them and send them to you via email after the event. Also, a copy of the webinar will be sent to you all in just a few days. So we want to provide extreme value to you all the while respecting your time. So a couple more seconds here. Des Moines, Iowa, New Jersey, Virginia, love it. All right, we'll get her going here. So welcome everybody to the Titan Tactical Strategies webinar. I'm Ryan Marsh, your host, former mover and Supermove Partnerships Liaison. Supermove is proud to partner with the Moving Titan team as we dive into some of the Titan tactical strategies that will explode your moving company. We have some incredible speakers coming on today, and I encourage all of you to take notes, jump in the chat box, and take away as many nuggets that you can and implement them today in this 2-hour jam-packed session. Make sure you stay tuned in till the end, because at the end of the webinar, you'll have a chance to win a free general admission ticket to the Moving Titan Retreat in March. However, you must be on the webinar to win. So if you'd like to be entered to win a free ticket to the Moving Titan Retreat, which is March 21st through March 22nd in Tampa, Florida, pop in the chat box and enter #retreat, and we will draw the winner at the end of the webinar. So again, if you'd like to win a free ticket to the Moving Titan Retreat, March 21st through March 22nd in Tampa, Florida, let's see those #retreats in the chat box. And for a little bit of context, Moving Titan Retreats was founded in 2021 by Wade Sweikel and Chad Coatney, both of which will be speaking here today, in an effort to bring together the best minds in the moving industry to learn from one another and how to grow our companies and absolutely dominate the markets that we all serve. So let's get right into it. Let's introduce our speakers so we can dive into some Titan tactical strategies. We're going to have Wade Sweikel, CEO of Two College Brothers Moving, co-founder of Moving Titan Retreats and Tighten Up Training. Wade is also the host of Grow Your Moving Company podcast. We've got Chad Coatney, founder and CEO of Master Movers, co-founder of Moving Titan Retreats and Tighten Up Training. Winston Davis, founder of Move Up Consulting, CEO of Big Lick Moving. Tommy Mello, founder of the $200+ million company, A1 Garage Doors, and host of the Home Service Expert podcast. We also have Sean Crane, CEO of Unstoppable. Sean is also a speaker and best-selling author. John Hamilton, owner of Brooks Moving and Hauling, also co-founder of Tighten Up Training. And we're going to finalize it out with Reagan Weiss, fractional CMO, creator of the Hub Network, and also a published author. Wow, guys, that is a powerhouse lineup right there, and I'm super excited to get this thing moving for us all. So let's turn it over to Tommy Mello, home service expert, as he dives into creating the ultimate experience for your team and your potential customers. Tommy, what's going on, man? Welcome aboard.
Hey, appreciate being here.
Hey, it's all yours. We'll see you here shortly.
All right, so I got about 30 minutes. I'm just going to try to talk about some of the core things that I've done I've been in the business 17 years, and I've got a garage door company. And we're in 23 states, about 40 markets. And one thing that I'm actually in Vegas right now. I just was on the news earlier. I got another news segment later. And taking the team out to dinner here in Vegas. There's about 20 of us going to be going to dinner. And yesterday, I wanted to talk about an experience that I had. I had a guy named Wyatt from Any Hour Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electrical out of Utah with 12 of his top executives. And each of these executives has equity in their company. They're backed by private equity. And Wyatt said to me during the shop tour is, we've gotten away from these shop tours, and I'm so glad we're back doing them again. And you're one of the shops that I wanted to go to for the last 3 years. They should be doing $100 million profit this year. Extraordinary company. And one of the things that it brought me back to is when I was, 4 or 5 years ago, I started studying other companies. I started going and looking at what makes $100 million revenue company. Now he's $100 million profit, so I'm headed out to his shop, most likely in April or May. We're setting that up. But he said if we didn't go to other shops and get input from other companies in and out of our industry, we would never be here today. So I think your network is your net worth. I believe that the more people you meet and ask them how they're doing things, people are excited to share. They're proud of their team. So I think that coming to an event like this in Tampa in March is a networking opportunity to get. You don't go in there and try to hand your business card and meet every person. You try to go there and meet 3 to 5 people with an intention. You try to go in there and meet the people and wonder, success leaves clues. Follow the people that are winning every single day. And there's people that might be above you. There's people that might be below you. They could both help you. So I believe that taking the opportunity, think about this. I'm a garage door company based in Phoenix, Arizona. And this guy took the time with his entire leadership team to come visit. And we spent 3 hours together. We got lunch. And it's a game changer. We learned a lot from him. They've learned a lot from us. And that's how you grow. And hopefully the whole industry becomes better, stronger, faster. And hopefully, I think there's big things coming from the moving industry. I think it's a cash cow. I think getting in front of this thing before it happens. And I'm going to talk a little bit today about technology because I think I'm a garage door company, but really what I am is a technology company that does garage doors. And I'll explain that later. So the foundation of the business that I'm going to jump into is 4 major KPIs, and you guys should probably write these down. And most people are not tracking these things, but what is your booking rate? Whether a form comes in through the website or Angie or any of the other lead aggregators, or they make a phone call, what is your booking rate? And most people say it's around 80%. That's not a real booking rate. You should be tracking abandoned calls, the ones you don't answer, non-booked calls, calls outside of your opportunity area. And most people they don't know the data. Their data is not accurate. They don't know what to do on a Monday. They're like, I think we're booking pretty good, but they don't have the exact data. The next one is when you knock on the door, remember, friends knock, strangers ring the doorbell. How many are you actually earning the business, right? How many are you converting from an opportunity to a client? And that should be tracked, and it should be down to the decimal point. It should be tracked for every single person. I know some of you guys are doing this over the phone, but you should be doing it in person to set a great impression, looking at the opportunities at hand, going there. The chance of closing over the phone versus face-to-face, it's like 0.1%. When you're there in person, you're smiling. Your truck is hopefully it's beautiful. You parked in a spot they can see it. You give them that wow experience. So you've earned their business. The next one is, what's your opportunity job average? What is your average ticket? And I guarantee you, I've got a buddy here in Vegas. The average HVAC guy is closing anywhere from $1 million to $3 million. This guy's going to do $24 million himself still in the field. So there's someone out there that's murdering it, that's doing so much better than any other company. And going to an event like this, you could network. You could figure out what they're doing. You could ask questions. And more than likely, they're excited to share because everybody wins. And then the last one is, what does it cost you to acquire a customer? So cost per acquisition. Are you tracking your marketing? I have 7,000 call tracking numbers. Every single Valpak zone of 10,000 is a separate phone number. I mean, we've got analytics on top of analytics. And I know this sounds boring. And yeah, I know we need to know our numbers, but it's the foundation of knowing what you should be working on today. So I use those 4 KPIs to build my budget. I use those when I'm going to acquire a customer. I look at where they're at, then I overlap mine and figure out how much I can pay for them. Without knowing those 4 numbers, I kind of feel like I'm lost. I could fix your moving company. I could fix a dentist office. I could fix any company in the world knowing those 4 KPIs. So I believe that's the foundation. The next thing I want to jump into is, a lot of people are like, how do I get more leads? It was very easy to get leads. And I know the housing market is not what it was. Interest rates are up. People are keeping their houses. So the question you have is, I need more leads. Well, I kind of look at half of my marketing is how do I get the right people? How do I leave that wow A+ experience, 5 out of 5? How do I get not just one review? I want a review on Google. I want a review on Yelp. I want a review on Nextdoor. I want them to post on their Facebook about their experience. I want a video posted. Like if you got less leads, there's a huge opportunity to take more time and put a yard sign. There's a huge opportunity to hire the best people. And what I mean, the best of the best, I mean, 1 out of 100 people applying should be getting the job. They should leave this crazy wow experience where we're going to go over, we're going to differentiate what we do versus the other company. You're going to show them a checklist. You're going to show them how they could trust you. You're going to show them how you're going to give them the red carpet service. And so a lot of my marketing efforts are pointed towards getting the right people that are going to get me more business in the future and help me recruit A+ players. You know, I wrote a book called Elevate, and it's have a dream so big that every one of your coworkers' dreams fits inside. And so right now I'm working with Michael Michalowicz as well to there's a book called Profit First, but I'm rolling that out for each and every person that I work with so that they could buy their dream house, so that they can put their kids in private school if they choose to do so. So they could buy their dream car, so they could go on the dream vacations, they could go to Disney World first class, and cut all the lines. You know, I put them first and I figure out a way to have them accomplish their goals, which means financial discipline. It means consistency. It means really making the time to help their dream come true. But here's what I figured out is a lot of the times I got to peel back the onion. I got to literally peel back the onion and find out what their dreams are. They haven't thought about it in a long time. So I think starting with their dream in mind, and then I call my vendors and I find out what's their goals. Where are they trying to get to in the next 3 years? How can I help them become more profitable? I want my vendors to be extremely profitable. I'm going to go over, I've got an 8-step sales process. And if you come to Tampa, I'm going to go over it. It's the 8-step process that works every single time. I hope that you guys have a process and that people are following it. And there's a data integrity team to make sure, and a CRM in place to make sure they're following it exactly. My process is flawless. When it's followed correctly, it works every single time. And I'm going to talk a lot when I come out to Florida about my morning mojo calls, how to get everybody pumped up in every single market in the morning. Talk about the big wins from the day before. You know, I believe if you criticize people during meetings, you're going to lose big time. You got to praise people. The one-on-ones, hopefully you guys are having regular one-on-ones and coaching your people up and reminding them of their dream and why it's important to do these things. And I'm not super familiar with the moving industry, but I know it's the same. Did you offer this? Did you think about this? Did you include this? Did you explain this properly? Because those things are not only going to help conversion rate, but they're going to help average ticket. What's the point of doing marketing if you're not booking the call, converting it to a customer, and getting a good average ticket? So I'm going to be going over the morning mojo calls. On Thursday meetings, I had a buddy of mine. He's got a pest control company. He came to my Thursday meeting. He started having the exact same mojo calls on Thursday meetings that I have. Within 1 month, he lifted his average, the whole revenue and profit by 25%. I mean, what would that mean for your company? Imagine you walked in your company a month after applying these things that are fairly simple, success leaves clues, and you showed up in a bigger way to your people. And a month later, what would it mean if you had 25% more revenue and 25% more profit? Think about that. What would it mean for your family? What would it mean for your coworkers? Those are the questions I'd love for you to start thinking about. We invest a lot into our training. To get a job at A1 Garage Door Service, it's very, very difficult. We look for winners. One of our core values is aspire to be number one. We are looking to really hire D1 athletes, people that like to win, people that when I played football, soccer, baseball, there was a time where we practiced twice a day to play one game for the week. So we'd practice 10 times to play one game. But what do we do? Probably in the moving industry as well. We say you're going to do basically a ride along or you're going to work with this guy for 2 weeks, then you're on your own. Then they never hear about training again. And then we wonder why accidents happen. I met a guy in 2017. His name's Al Levy. And if you get a chance, write down this book. It's called a 7-power contractor. He sat down. I was doing $17 million of revenue at the time. And he said, show me your manuals. Show me your standing operating procedures. Show me your checklist. I gave him one manual. I plopped it down. I said, here's the deal. He said, how do people know how to win the game? He goes, can I have facial hair if I work here? How do I do PTO? What happens if my truck breaks down? And as a manager, we've got all this data as the founder, as the owner, as the manager. We have all this data in our minds, right? We've got all the answers. And we kind of drive ourselves crazy. We're like, we answered that question yesterday. Why is everybody, until you get a foundation, Al explained to me, your business is going to be boring because it's going to be systematized. It's going to be very vanilla. You're not going to have these highs and lows. You're not going to be Mr. Fix-It. You're not going to walk in and be this firefighter anymore because there's not going to be any fires. Because if you have systems and processes, it solves everything. Our technicians take 40 pictures. We weigh the door on every single opportunity. We've got videos we make on the job that are within our CRM, which is called Service Type. And then we've got a whole team to make sure we did everything right during the process. And then when that happened, we had way less issues. And it took me a year to build these foundations. We went from 17 million to 30 million to 70 million. And what I also did was I decided, you know, Al Levy, he took a picture of my truck, A1 garage door service. And he took a picture and he put it in black and white. He hands me the piece of paper and he goes, show me exactly what you do. You've got Angie's List, you've got the BBB, you've got Yelp, you've got every single thing you do on the truck. He goes, I don't think you got a great brand. So he said, there's several good companies that do this, but he said, call Dan Antonelli with Kick Charge and get branded correctly. So I made the investment, and I made the investment at $40 million of revenue. $40 million. And that's when everything started going good. My website looked like my yard signs, looked like my billboards. We had the right message to the community. And people ask me, what does A1 stand for? And I tell them, listen, my mom worked 7 jobs when I was a kid. 7 jobs. I'm sorry. When I was 7 years old, she worked 3 jobs. And what I figured out is my mom is one of the most important people in my life. And I tell customers the story of when I was a kid. And my mom did everything she could to keep us in the right school and hold on to our house. And I look customers directly in the eye with the right eye contact, the right tonality. And I tell them, I want to treat you the same way I treat my mother. This is what I would do if it was my mom's house. And that's what we stand for. We want to do right by the client. We want to fix it right the first time. And when you tell a great company story and you say it the right way and the right eye contact, the right tonality, remember, body language is 55% of what we do. The large majority of the rest is tonality. The rest is the words we use. So we never say, can you sign the contract? We say, can you okay the paperwork? These are very, very important things. And we train. And we get it right. And imagine if you had a team of all A players. And by the way, A players hate that you have B players on your team. If you were going to sell your company in 2 months, I want you to think about this. Who would you let go? Who would you top grade? Why are they still there? Why are you letting your company just have these low players? The worst employee you could have is a good person on your team. The worst employee is a good teammate. The bad ones get fired. The great ones take you straight up. The good players, they kind of just do their job. They don't ask for reviews. They don't clean up after themselves. They don't work when you need them to pick up a shift. They're not there for you, but you allow this to happen because nobody wants to work these days, you keep telling yourself. Why? Because you put an ad on Indeed. You did a Glassdoor. You did an ad on ZipRecruiter. You put an ad on Craigslist. You put an ad on Facebook, and you expect everybody just to come line up to work for you. We did 7 hiring events last month. Over 2,500 RSVPs to hire 30 people. We make it everything to get the right people on our team. Everything is about getting the right people on the team. And we work our butts off to get the right person. No B players, all A players. Remember, A players hate B players. 1 A player will run circles around 3 B players. And so I said to myself, how do I get a really, really good A player? So I wrote down I'll tell you guys a quick story. I wrote down, there's Darren Hardy of the Compound Effect wrote down 100 things he wanted in a woman. And he reads this list out loud and says that there's no way I could ever get a woman like this. So he wrote down 100 things he would need to become to get a person like that. And when I read that, I wrote down about 30 things I would need to become as a leader to attract the right talent. I need a great place for them to come work. I need to communicate properly. I need a ladder for them to move up. I need them to feel appreciated. I need to make sure their training is 100% and they feel welcome. They're taking a chance with their entire family on our company to come work here. They should feel honored when they come in, not, hey, welcome in. Here's what your first day looks like. We're going to be getting you lunch. Like, bring them in, throw out the red carpet, send flowers to their wife and thank them for the opportunity. Make them feel welcome. You know, when people leave your company after 25 years, you have a big cake and you celebrate their leaving. Why don't we celebrate when they start? I'm big into technology, as I mentioned. The AI, artificial intelligence that we're working on, we use a company called Rilla Voice that listens to every call. You set your cell phone down or your tablet when you're having a conversation with a client. In Florida, you need consent for both parties. So you just say these calls may be recorded, or when we're out there, it may be recorded. It's super easy to do. I'm actually in Florida with A1 Garage Door Service. It tells you the words per minute that you're talking. Are you talking too fast? Are you talking too slow? Are you doing all the talking? Are you asking open-ended questions? Are you using the right words? Are you following the steps? What we found, we did a 40 technician kind of pilot program. We took one of our guys that was 180, brought him to 20 within 2 weeks. They study their own calls and then we show them the calls of what's working. Our company has 42,000 service agreements. They said service agreements were not even possible in the garage door industry. This is the real deal. I'm telling you guys, I don't have goals just to be the biggest and best. I have goals to wipe everybody off the planet. I don't want to just be the biggest. I love my competitors. I hope they do better, but they really don't have a chance. I mean, let's be honest. How are they going to win when I'm innovating faster, when I'm investing more in my people, when I'm paying them more to train, when I'm training them more, when I'm getting them the right ride-alongs? The AI I'm using is a virtual ride-along on every single job. The dispatching we're doing, the new dispatching tools with AI, it takes into account the age of the home, the credit score. I'm getting them pre-financed before I go there. I'm getting my best turnover tech, which probably doesn't make sense to you. But when I go to a service call, I want it to turn over to a new door sale. I'm taking all these analytics and I'm pulling them in to give me the best guy to run the best call. If you send a person out to a mansion full of a bunch of stuff, are you sending your top player? Are you pulling in the data? How do you stand a chance? BI tools, business intelligence. We're building all these things in Power BI to give us super advanced analytics. And like I said, it's going to be very, very tough. I'm using Chirp. It's CHIIRP to build all these automations that fire out of my service Titan. So if a customer does not book the call, we send them 5 FAQs of why they should use us automatically. If we don't answer the call, there's an automatic firing system. We had 727 customer courtesy calls, manual release, safety eye issue, GFI blue. That's not our fault, but we fix it for free because we just charge them a good lump sum of money to fix their door. My automations are going to fix that. Service agreements, fix that. All my reviews coming out of Chirp. I've got 9 different automations that we're building that are complicated and they're A/B tested that are just, you don't stand a chance. Every single job that does not confirm with you, are you sending them something to follow up with them and figure out why and set a Calendly date to get on the phone with them to try to earn their business? How could you differentiate yourself? I know I'm running out of time here, but if you guys look at Facebook and type in Facebook and their email address, it'll pop up. You can find out how many kids they have. You can find that common magic moment before you get there. If you look at their LinkedIn, you can know what kind of profession they're in. If you look at Zillow, you know how long they lived in the house and how much it sold for. I mean, these things matter. Are you guys paying for performance pay? Performance pay. What's in it for them? What's in it for your people to sell more, to give a better quality job, to make sure they play with the dog when they're at the house? And how are you checking on these things? Like, these are the tools that I'm working on. And I just think it's going to be very, very tough to compete with a company that's pulling in AI, business intelligence, and automations. And these are the things I'm going to be talking about in Florida. And I'm going to go into detail because you guys set up these things. And I know it sounds crazy. You got to get branded correctly. You got to hire better. You got to do performance pay. You got to use these different tools. But it's not that complicated because I don't do any of it. Really, I use Rapid Hire to hire all my employees. I use Chirp to do the automations. I use Power BI to do the business intelligence. I use one of the tools I use is, like I said, Rilla Voice to do. I'm not building all this stuff internally. I'm just taking a great company and doing best practices. So it's not that hard. One thing I want to finish with is I want to go back to where I started. If you're not willing to make an investment in yourself, if you look at this event as a cost and you're not willing to network, put in the work, and go over and above to actually meet the people and go visit their shops and ask great questions and actually apply some of the stuff that we're going to be discussing on stage. You take one thing, you meet one person, this pays 100x. But you know what people do? They say, oh, I can't afford it. If you can't afford to come here, all the reason to come here. I love the people that say they come to my events and they're like, well, I can't afford to come there. I'm like, really? You don't know what to do on a Monday. You hate your life. You don't spend time with family. You got into business for financial freedom and to spend more time with your family. Let me see your credit card bills and let me see your calendar. How's that going? You spend no time with your family. The reason you started, you forgot why. And this event's about creating that magic opportunity to bring back what you started from. I look at why people are unsuccessful. They focus on what they don't have versus what they have. Number two, they focus on the past. They blame the past for everything instead of the present and the future. And number three, they focus on what they can't control. They're pissed off about Ukraine and Israel. They're pissed off about the traffic jam, but they don't think about working out in the morning and making their bed and showing up for dinner on time with their family and their kids and being a good mom and dad and showing up to their parents as a good son or daughter. These are the things I want to discuss that a lot of people aren't talking about. And I know I jumped all over the place because I just wanted to give you guys a taste of what I'm going to be talking about. But I wanted to give you guys ultimate value. I wanted to bring you guys things that a lot of other speakers don't talk about. And here's the secret sauce is I'm going to do well over 200. I'll probably do 270 million this year. And I'm at 23% bottom line. I'm going to get it to 30% bottom line. I don't know a lot of speakers here that are doing even close to this, taking the time to do this stuff, but I want to make an impact. I'm still in the fight. I'm still in the grind. I'm not just a coach that didn't make it in the real world. I'm sitting here fighting the contractor fight, and I'm willing to share it all. I'm going to give you guys everything I've got. So if you're smart, you look at this as an opportunity and an investment versus a cost, and you show up there, you bring a blank notebook, you make notes, and then you prioritize the top 100 things, break it down to the top 30. Then you break it down to the top 5. You circle the one, and you go back home and you make it happen. Because I know when you get back home from an event like this, you get smacked in the face, and the life hits you, work hits you. You were gone for a few days. That's all the reason to come to an event like this. There's not a lot of events for moving companies. This is the big one. This is the one you should attend. This is in a great space. This is a great time to network. I hope to see you there. I hope to meet you in person. I think my 30 minutes is up, but I think it's going to be a great opportunity. And like I said, I think you're worth it. The question is, are you? Look in the mirror and decide if you're worth it. Look in the mirror if you're ready for the investment. Look in the mirror and say, am I worth working out? Am I worth getting in shape? Am I worth smiling when I look in the mirror? Am I worth making a lot of money for my family and setting their future up and and your family tree? Because that's the question here. I don't care about selling tickets. I care about improving lives. So you guys are going to decide. I appreciate you guys. Sorry about my ADHD. I bounce over the place. Like I probably couldn't even keep up with myself if I had to listen. But just take one thing and apply it. And I promise you, you'll see amazing success. And I wish you guys all, whether you're there at the event or not, I want you to succeed. I want you to make a difference. I want you to make impact in everybody around you, in your coworkers' life, in your life, and your family's life. So I appreciate it very much, and I hope you guys. I hope to see you there.
Tommy, this was absolutely incredible. I mean, I think I've got writer's cramp from writing down all the nuggets that I personally am going to take away from this. But I love how you elevate your employees. Obviously, those four KPIs are critical to anybody's success. But what really stuck out with me, and then we'll transition over here, is you mentioned that we often tend to celebrate that 20, 30 years of when somebody's retiring from the company. Why in the heck are we not celebrating that amazing employee that comes through the door? So that's something right there that I've never considered, and I absolutely love how you spelled that out. But thank you so much for joining us, Tommy. Hope you have an amazing day, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tommy. All right, guys. Up next, we have Sean Crane, who's going to be chatting on overcoming the odds while betting on yourself. And if you guys are able to take away some nuggets from Tommy Mello today, pop a 2 in the chat box. I mean, my goodness, the hair's standing up here from some of the things he said, but pop a 2 in the box if you're able to take away some of Tommy's nuggets. Love to see it. Welcome, Sean. How are you?
What's going on, everybody? I'm doing pretty well. I'm fired up after hearing Tommy speak, man. I didn't know he was a motivational speaker now.
I love it, man. But hey, the stage is all yours.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, my family and I got really sick the last 24 hours. So I was just feeling like crap earlier. I never get sick. And then, I jumped on here, I hear Tommy speaking, and honestly, like, that's why I want to surround myself with the best people in life, because it changes the way you feel instantaneously. I got a crazy story to get to this point. I'm not in the trades. I don't own a moving business. I'm a motivational speaker. I'm a coach, best-selling author. So I'm going to be bringing this book to the event. I'm going to be passing them out to a lot of people, VIP. I'm going to bring a ton of these books. I wrote this book during COVID, Prison of Your Own. This tells my story of being wrongly convicted at the age of 23 and facing life in prison. So, what I speak on is really like the human spirit and the evolution of our growth and overcoming any obstacles in our way. Prior to going to prison, I had no direction in life. I was working for my uncle's tree service business, climbing trees, carrying logs. I learned the value of hard work, and it was a really good lesson, but I wasn't doing what I wanted in my life. I loved sports growing up. I was very passionate about life, and I just lost that version of myself along the way. And I felt like I was just settling and I was just drinking and partying and doing all these things that a lot of young people do, but I was not fulfilled and I didn't know where I was going in life. And then I went to a party where a fight broke out and someone was assaulted and I got blamed for the crime I didn't commit. And the next day I was handcuffed at gunpoint, and charged with attempted murder. And I was facing life in prison. And that was the moment my life changed forever. Because up until that point, I didn't understand what was at stake. Like we go to these conferences and a lot of people are here because they just want to make more money. They want to scale their business. Like that's awesome. But I found so much more depth about life and about myself during that time of incarceration. So I'm going to talk a lot about the mental shift that I went through, the spiritual shift, like the transformation that I went through in that 6x8 jail cell that allowed me to actually take control of my life. Prior to that point, I had endless amounts of opportunities all around me, but I wasn't able to capitalize on them because I was a broken individual. And this is the main thing that I teach now. Like personal development equates to professional success. Like write that down. Personal development equates to professional success. I work with a lot of business owners in the trades, and I see a common theme is that they pour their heart and soul into scaling their business for their teams, systems, everything Tommy just shared. But you see what Tommy's starting to talk about. He's talking about, your relationships at home. He's talking about your fitness. He's talking about really loving who you are when you look in the mirror. I talk to so many guys who don't feel that way. And these are guys who have done well in their businesses and who have big teams, big companies, but they don't feel connected to their wives or significant other. They're not spending the time with their children that they want to spend. They're getting fat, they're drinking, they're numbing themselves at night to try to reduce the stress and get some sleep. And it's a big issue right now. So, in Tampa, I mean, you're going to hear Andy Elliott, Spitfire, you're going to hear Tommy Mello. There's so many amazing speakers, industry specific. My thing is I want to stir your spirit. I'm going to share my story and what I did at rock bottom to rebuild my life. And literally like all the odds were stacked up against me. Life in prison at 23, who comes back from that? To that point, I had nothing to show for my life. I was just a drug addicted loser. But you see, the thing is, inside of me, I knew I was so much better than that. Inside of me, I knew I could achieve something great in life. I just had to get out of my own way. So, a lot of times people come to these conferences and events and they want to learn something business related. They want to learn something about systems, sales, whatever it is, right? And a lot of times, like these same individuals, if they just took better care of themselves and prioritized their daily exercise, their nutrition, their personal development, and they really made it a focal point of how they live their lives, they would see their business excel. They would see all the numbers grow, right? And not just that, but they would be happier. Like that's what we're all after, right? Why do we want to have successful businesses? Why do we want to make money? Why do we want to do all this stuff? We want to be happy. We want to be proud of who we are. And I learned a long time ago that really feeling proud of who you are and like loving who you are when you look in the mirror, it's not directly correlated to money. It's not directly correlated to business growth. It's multifaceted. So I'm going to be sharing about my journey and how I was able to overcome that life sentence in prison and really the key takeaways that helped me to change my life during that time. And really what Tommy said is so true. It's all mindset. Like I had a choice. I could wake up every day in that jail cell and think about all the things working against me, how all the people at the party were telling on me, my lawyers didn't believe me, the judge and the DA wanted to send me to prison for life. Like nobody wanted to help me. Nobody thought I was innocent. If I had focused on those things every single day, I would have been ruined. I probably would have wanted to hang myself in that cell. But what I started doing was I started asking myself, well, like, what if you had to come to jail to get sober, Sean? Or what if this experience is going to change your life somehow, some way? And you can't see it right now, but this is a turning point in your life. And I just chose to believe in that, in that self-talk, in that dialogue. And then every day I started focusing on things I could do that were within my control. And honestly, this is one of the biggest problems I see most people have. It's like Tommy said a little bit ago, they're dwelling on things outside of their control, the past, or they're worried about the economy, or they're worried about a slow month in business, and they're actually exacerbating these outcomes, you know? And not just that, but stress is through the roof, anxiety's through the roof. They're having to drink just to get through the day or the week. And so honestly, personal development, that's an 8, 9 figure skill set, right? The guy who gets up early and has a focus on his personal development the same way he does in business, who has systems, who's organized, who's dedicated, I see those guys come alive. They start to feel so much better about themselves when they're losing the weight or they finally stop drinking. They start to feel so much better about themselves when they're just making their daily routines a priority. And you see the shift in their energy, their demeanor, the way they talk, the way they move. How do you think this guy is going to lead his team? How do you think this guy is speaking to customers? How do you think this guy is showing up every day in his business? Right. So it shocks me how many people neglect themselves and let themselves, they put themselves on the back burner. They'll miss a workout, they'll eat whatever food. They'll just like, oh, I'll do it later. I'll do it next week, next year, new me. All the while, like, don't you recognize that you're bringing that person into business and into your life? So if we want to win across the board, it starts with us. Like you have to be your number one priority. Your daily routines, I'm telling you, if you make those your number one priority, not only will it carry over into business, but your relationships, like your wife, your kids are like, Dad, man, Mom, like you seem different. Like you seem happy. Your energy is infectious. And how many times are we coming home from work and we're just bringing leftovers? We're bringing that negative energy. We're all depleted. We're thinking about all these things that happened that day in business, and we're not able to be present. Like, what kind of life is that? Who wants to get to the end of their life and look back on all these moments they weren't present? Who wants to get to the end of their life and look back on all these moments in their life where they weren't at their best and they made excuses and they just focused only on business, only on money, only on systems? Like, I don't want that life. I don't want that life at all. I want to win across the board. And the way I found to do that is by making sure that every day I'm doing everything I can to feel and be at my best. This is what got me through prison. This is what saved my life and changed my life. And this same focus and mentality allowed me to come home with just $200 in my pocket, living in a trailer on my aunt and uncle's property, and rebuild my life. I started fitness coaching in gyms. Then I transitioned online during COVID. I wrote my book, Prison of Your Own, during COVID. That became a bestseller. I got married. I have a beautiful family. I'm like, holy shit, excuse my language, but like, look at this life, and honestly, it's all because I had everything taken away. And I know what it's like to feel like you're dying, like literally on a deathbed. And I just had so many regrets in my life. There was so many things that I knew I wanted to do and change, and I didn't make the change. It was like there was this person that I always envisioned being, and I had settled for a lesser version of myself. And in that cell, I had to face that pain, and it ate me up alive. But I made a promise in that moment that I was going to dedicate the rest of my life to being that person I knew I could be. And that's when my journey started. So my goal in Tampa is not only to inspire you guys, but like to help you really look at yourself in such a transparent way where you're willing to make the decisions and the hard choices and the changes that will better your life for the long run, right? Like I want you to leave there having a clear vision of who you need to be and how you need to execute in all areas of your life. Because when you have that focus and you have that clarity, then it's about just doing the work. And I know too many people put it off, and then all of a sudden they're on that deathbed and they're dying with regrets and it's too late. I got a second chance and I'm on a mission to share this message with the world because I know what it's like to feel like you just died and you didn't give your all to life. And it's the worst feeling in the world. So I'm going to keep it short and to the point. Hope that, some of you guys got fired up from this. I hope to see all of you there too. I mean, here's the thing. Last thing I want to share. How can a felon, I think I have like 4 felonies. I was a wild kid, right? Come back from life in prison and just like, I have a 7-figure coaching business. I speak on stages all over the country. I get to speak with Andy Elliott, Tommy Mello, like Ed Milet, all these amazing people. I built relationships with all these people. Like they're in my phone. I can call them and ask them for advice. Like one of the most important things I want to stress to you guys is get in the rooms with people you can learn from. Get in the rooms with people who have the success you want. I was very aware that I didn't know a lot when I came home. I just had urgency and I was going to be successful. But I had to learn how to use an iPhone. Never had an iPhone. Had to learn how to use Instagram. Never had Instagram. Had to learn how to build my online programs and market myself. I had to learn sales. I had to learn all this. How did I learn it? Not by just sitting around or reading books. I got in the rooms with the people I could observe. I asked them questions. I got mentorship. I've invested so much money in my personal development of my business since coming home. And it's literally fast tracked me to where I'm at now. So it's one of the most important things is going to events, building these relationships. It literally changes your perception in real time. And then you get to go back in your life and implement those things like Tommy was saying. So I hope to see all of you guys there. I mean, if you're not there, then you don't want it bad enough, in my opinion. Like I'll do whatever it takes to be successful and create the life that I want, because this is my second chance. I know it's at stake. I hope to see you all there.
Sean, that was truly inspiring, man. Your story is absolutely inspiring. I'm excited to take a peek at the book and get through that. And what really stands out, that personal development creates professional success. I absolutely love that statement that you made earlier, and I greatly appreciate you popping on here and sharing a wealth of knowledge to the team here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I can't wait to see everybody in Tampa, March 21st and 22nd.
Hey, take care, Sean. Actually, up next, we have Reagan Weiss, who unfortunately is stuck in an airport at the moment. Things happen, right? But he was nice enough to send us a quick video revealing some of his trade secrets and a glimpse of a previous moving company retreat, or previous moving Titan retreat. I'm sorry, hard time speaking today, but just stand by here for a second. We'll get the video loaded and we'll get it playing for y'all.
What's going on? Well, it doesn't actually get any better than this because I'm in a public place. So what better to actually make this video? So I got stuck at the airport in Denver. I'm headed to Vegas. It's snowing. It's really, you know, who gives a shit? You don't care about that. All you care about is the value that I can bring you. So sorry I missed it today. I wish I could have been there live. Like I said, got stuck in the airport, waiting for some food behind here. Got myself a nice little still water. Here's the deal. I'm going to put a couple of videos that I did in the last Moving Titan retreat out here so you guys can see them. But that's just a taste of the value that you can bring to your community. And I will tell you that it's a huge advantage of what you can do. But this is the perfect example of public speaking. Let me tell you something. I can't tell you how many business owners that I deal with on a daily basis that simply won't come out of their shell. So actually, this is actually one of the tools that I tell people to do, or one of the steps I tell them to take. Go to a mall, go to your gym. I don't care where you go to your local town, go to your downtown. I don't care if there's a million people around. Make your video content and start speaking in front of other people, and I promise you're going to become more and more comfortable as time goes on. Here's the problem, guys. Gen Z is coming up, and Gen Z grew up with this phone, and guess what? They're very, very comfortable. They don't give a shit what they look like. They do to an extent, but they're not worried about so much about, oh, my hair is not looking good, my beard's not looking good, my skin's not looking good, so I'm not going to make a video. They're going to make their videos, and they're going to get their point across. So to all you business owners, to you moving titans, because that's what you should be, all moving titans, let me tell you what you should do. Get your ass out of your head and start talking about your community. Go to business to business to business. Start interviewing them. Start interviewing all these different businesses. And guess what happens when you lift other people up? They lift you up. That's what happens. And then guess what? Your moving company and your community will be the most recommended ever. Why? Because you're constantly lifting others up. Go to their business, post about their business, talk about how great they are, but only if you truly believe in their business. That's just only one nugget. Sorry I couldn't be there again today, guys. Titans, I love you. Tommy Mello, you stud, you sexy man. I'll see you soon. And we wave. See, we wave to the people. We wave to the people. And I can't wait to see you guys in March. But here's some nuggets for you guys. God bless. Peace. Talk to you in a bit. Really quickly, like how many employees do you have? How many employees? Sweet. How many employees do you have? Keep it going. Sorry.
About 95.
Holy shit. Keep going. Anybody? 8. All right, we get the point. Okay. Ready for this? Your employees, listen to this, please. Your employees are the most underutilized asset of your company. Let me repeat this. They're the most underutilized asset of your company. If your employees are not talking about how awesome you are, if they're not talking about you and how awesome and epic you are, you got a problem. I'm not saying kiss your beanbag. I'm not saying kiss your ass. I'm saying they need to be talking about you and how special of a boss you are, because you've helped them out in life. You've done something for them. For God's sakes, you took risks in life, jumped, created your own business so they can have fucking jobs. They have food on their table because of you, and they better be freaking grateful for it. But it's up to you to teach that culture in your company so they talk about you. But they should want to. They should want to. This is how I always say this all the time. It's so funny. HVAC companies, plumbing contractors, whatever. And I'll sit there and I'll talk to all these employees, 50 employees, 100 employees, whatever it is. And I'm like, if your main goal is to get through the week so you can't wait to post on Friday, hey man, we're going to the bar and we're going to drink some beer tonight, you got a problem. You got a culture problem, because you should be teaching the mindset of these individuals. That's not what life's about. That's not what life's about. Your job as a boss should be teaching them what life is about. And you, my friends, my employees, can have a better life. Could you imagine, what if you start teaching your employees, hey bro, you want to be an owner one day? I'm going to show you. Just listen to me. I'm going to show you how to become an owner. And you are going to be so successful in life because I'm going to show you how to become an owner. Well, what if I'll be your competition one day? Good. That's awesome. You know how much loyalty you're going to get out of those employees? Right? It's not pointing, it's pulling. Right? That's been around forever. But do it and implement it. This shit works. Do it. We can talk about great ideas all day, but if you don't implement, you just wasted your money here today. And with speed of implementation comes urgency of accomplishment. Anyone have that? Anyone struggling with urgency of accomplishment?
Yes.
Your whole life? Oh shit, I'm waiting. Why am I not here yet? Why have I not succeeded yet? Why am I not doing what friggin' Wade is doing? Why? How come he's there and I'm not? Start with speed of implementation and then you get to the spot. Right? Then that urgency is not so much. Because you won. Right? At the end of the day, it's about winning. It's about absolutely winning. You're here to win. You're here to help others, but you're here to win. But while you're trying to win, your number one goal is to help others along the way. Write that shit down. Don't ever forget that. On the way to winning, help others along the way. Help people in your own industry, for God's sakes. Help them. They're your brothers. They go through struggles. They have issues. They got shit going on. They got family. They got wives. They got this. They got that. They got problems just like you. Help them out if you can. That's what this group is for. That's why this is here. So you guys can help each other grow. The beauty part is you're all in different spots of the world. This is fantastic. So you can piggyback off each other all the time and say what's working and what's not working, right? Okay. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed those nuggets. Thanks again for the opportunity. Once again, sorry I couldn't be there. Yeah, I gave golden nuggets. Eat your pizza bagel. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you, Reagan, for taking the time to get that video over to us here. Wish you the best in all your travels. Hopefully make it back nice and safe. But that video actually teed this up really nicely. So our next speaker is going to be John Hamilton, and he's going to be touching on establishing a winning culture through leadership. Welcome, John.
Hey guys, thanks so much. What's up, Ryan?
Yeah, doing well, man. Hey, it's all yours here. We'll see you shortly.
I just want to thank everybody for joining us today. Man, it's a tremendous opportunity to be in front of everybody. If you're an owner or an ops manager or in a leadership position, go ahead and put a 5 in the chat for me. Just want to see kind of who's in the crowd here. Nice. Okay, perfect. So obviously we're talking about leadership and culture, which is super important, and leadership and culture will drive your business every single day. How many of you guys have come into an office or worked for a moving company, and every time you make a call back to the office, sounds like your manager's poopy pants, the owner's poopy pants are mad at you. They don't want to help. They're pissed off every time you got a question. Put a 4 in the chat. If you worked in that position and you've seen that before. The biggest problem that I'm seeing of all these people in the industry right now, they're saying, "Oh, I'm having such a difficult time, to find people to work for me and do all these things." At the end of the day, you as a leader and the people in your organization that are leaders, it is their direct responsibility to make sure that you're driving the culture of the company that you want. I have it on my board, and I walk in my office every morning and it says, "Did you bring your energy?" Because you have to have energy and you have to have positivity that is running rampant through the office, and you cannot have a ops manager or leadership position where these guys are not excited to talk to your movers and get them out the door every morning. I can't tell you that I'm not guilty of it when I first got into the business, because we deal with so many struggles in the morning with dispatch and guys not showing up and guys being late. Well, at what point do we sit there and we have these morning meetings or huddles, and you're like, you're every morning you find yourself just so frustrated you can't even have a conversation with them? You have to flip that switch. You have to flip that switch in your mind, and every day you have to flip the switch to where you are helping them, you're providing them value, and you're helping them get out the door. And when they're in the field, you're wanting to answer the phone, to answer questions for them, and making their lives easier. Because at the end of the day, we all know how exhausting it is to be on a truck. We know how exhausting it is to be out there with a client that's an absolute pain in the ass, or working with designer clients, or whatever it is, when you've got 6 different people telling you direction and they got to call the office, and last thing they want is a rude ops manager, a rude owner that's going to speak to them. So that is one huge nugget that I want to share with you guys, is have energy, have excitement with your crews every single day, so you're building a strong culture. I wanted to piggyback on what Sean said, because, man, it was some impactful stuff, and I kind of wrote it down in my own words. I wrote, "Investing in your business means investing in yourself. It has nothing to do with money, but growing as a person every single day." How many of you guys have worked for somebody or looked up to somebody, and that person didn't read, they were boring, they were not exciting? It's probably not the case, right? This person is probably working out, they're probably learning, they're probably growing every single day, they're doing stuff in their business that are getting them to the next level. And what makes me crazy is these people that own businesses out there, they're like, "I want to be a leader," but you're stagnant right now. How many of you guys are stagnant right now, not doing anything, not growing as a person, not growing as a business owner, and bringing that back to your family? I tell my guys every day that this business and this company isn't just to grow me, to grow my company, to make me better. I want to grow the guys around me. One, it's going to help my company, but when they leave my company, they're going to go back to their families. They're going to be better fathers. They're going to be better husbands. They're going to be better at everything they do and with their family and all these things. So this is what your overall picture should look like when it comes to leadership. And if you find your ops manager being rude on the phone to your guys, or in the mornings or stuff like that, you got to shut that shit down immediately. So bringing them energy, bringing them excitement is a huge proponent of one of the things that we do every single day here. The next thing I have here that I want to talk to you guys about is having a value-driven culture, and a value-driven company. This doesn't mean, that we're trying to drive home value, I guess, to our customers, right? Value-driven company means that you're having all of your things outlined in your core values that are non-negotiable within your company, and you're living by those standards every single day. And when you have a very hard decision to make in your company, whether you're going to keep somebody, you pull out your core values, you put them on your desk, and you say, did they break this? No. Did they break this? Yes. Did they break this? No. And it will instantly give you the perspective in your head to tell you whether or not you need to keep that person or you need to get rid of them. Because at the end of the day, these people are cancer, and we all have seen it. We've all dealt with it, where one person is cancerous and it affects an entire crew. So have a value-driven company. With that, every single person in your company is also a salesman. So we're going to talk about driving value, right? Every single person, whether that's the salesman selling the phone that are selling every single one of your services, informing your client of everything that you do so that they have a menu of options, Whether it's your dispatcher doing your confirmation calls to upselling storage, it's upselling, packing, all these things. But you have to maintain the leadership with them and groom them every single day to make that a top priority and to help them frame this stuff for their customers, for your customers, so that you can, at the end of the day, you can share the profits. There's a lot of different things and ideas out there that you can do when it comes to profit sharing in that aspect, whether it's giving movers commissions and stuff like that. These value driven opportunities for them in the monetary aspect now makes them happy with where they work, now puts more money in their pocket. They leave with a smile on their face and they love the culture and community that they're around. The next thing is inclusion. And no, I'm not talking about some bullshit woke inclusion, diversity, all this stuff. Inclusion is having everybody feel valued and respected. You have to have values in your company where everybody's respected, everybody's on the same page all the time. And at the end of the day, my crews, we're in such a good point right now where my crews, when one bad apple comes in, they tell everybody, this month ain't working on my truck. He's not working on my truck. Why? Because his attitude's affecting the entire crew's tip. His attitude's affecting the overall performance of the job and the reputation of this company. His attitude is affecting the review that I'm going to get for the company that's going to put another $20 in my pocket. I don't want this dude here. So this is the mentality that you have to force into your guys, using your core values to keep and get rid of this shit that comes into your company. But don't be quick to fire in a sense where if you see somebody mess up, that you're just firing them. Always take the opportunity to see if they're competent, if they're applying what they've learned, and if they're trying. You always want to make sure they're doing these three things, because if you know that you have a mover or an ops manager or a dispatcher that is competent and they're trying, they're going to have bad days. But as a leader, you have to be able to come in, live on your core values, have the energy, and work through these problems with them to help them develop in their job and everyday life. Because I found a lot of times in this industry, a lot of people have never been told that somebody's trusted in them, or they believe in them, or they, that they're the front lines and you're proud to be part of something. They've never heard that before. And I have so many guys walk into my office that are just excited to be here and tell me, man, nobody's ever told me they believed in me before. Believe it? It's pretty impactful, man. It makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up, because it's so important to have that culture in your company, because they go home to it. Maybe their wife's not believing in them. Maybe their mother and father didn't believe in them. And at the end of the day, now you're the only person that's giving them faith. So you have to have that culture in your company. Values and respect. Be transparent with your guys. Transparency builds respect. If you tell your guys everything that's going on within your company every single day or once a week, however you want to break it down, whether it's financially, whether it's the drama, the transparency will solve 99% of your problems. There's it's easy for the rumor mill to start rolling around in the moving industry, whether it's guys doing this, guys doing that, whatever it is. And at the end of the day, leadership typically knows what's going on. And we're solving it behind closed doors, because a good leader praises in public and they discipline in private. So they don't know what the truth is. So in those morning huddles or in your meetings that you're having once a week, you guys need to be transparent with the guys and squash stuff as soon as it comes through the door. Fix it, get rid of it. And the last thing that I want to close out on is, you can't be a leader. You can't be a leader without having a coach, right? If you don't have somebody to look up to, if you don't have somebody to, follow in their footsteps, to get guidance, to get questions answered, how are you going to continue to get better every day? And the people that all of us look up to, how are we interpreting that person? What are they doing every single day to get better, to bring value? I'm talking fast because I got a lot of stuff to cover, and I got about a minute left, but I want all you guys to think about that. And if you guys don't have a leader, take the opportunity to come to the event, meet giants. And when I'm saying giants, we're talking 40, 50, $60 million moving company owners. I went to an event about 3 years ago and it absolutely changed my life. I don't care what the fuck that ticket cost. At the end of the day, I met one person, and I 15x'd my business in 3 years. 15x'd. Now, imagine all the other nuggets that you're going to learn when you're able to 15x your business, and now you're fine tuning your bottom line. Now you're learning marketing strategies that are even different, more, complex. Every day you're working in your business, or on your business, not in your business. These are the people that you're going to meet that are going to be surrounding you so that you can continue to learn to be a leader, to drive the bottom line, to drive success in your business, man. So I'm challenging you. I promise you guys are going to get where you want, to come out here, be a leader every single day, and hang out with giants, and you're going to go everywhere.
John, that was awesome, man. Just for everyone that's going to listen here, how many of you currently, business owners that are on the call today, put a 5 in the chat if you actively work on creating a healthy and winning culture in your organization today? Love to see the 5s. But no, John, you made a lot of great points. I mean, culture in the workplace is critical for success. And I've said this from the get-go. You can have all the talent in the world on your team. If your culture is not thriving, you're going to have a damn tough time winning. So I appreciate you taking the time to pop on here and give us a little bit of culture update. But up next, who we have, which is going to tie right into some winning practices here. We've got Winston Davis going to be speaking on best practices on hiring and labor recruitment. So how's it going, Winston?
Brian, what's up, man? Thanks for having me.
It's good to see you, my man. Have some fun. We'll see you here shortly.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much, and pumped to be on here. You got Tommy, you got Sean Crane, you got John talking about culture, and so it all ties in. I think, I'm really biased in the business that I'm in, but truly, it's finding the right people is the most important part of building a giant business. And you can look at every, department. You can look at marketing, you can look at sales, you can look at finance, but if you don't have amazing people, Tommy talked about, A players don't like playing with B players. You have to find those people along the way. And so many people we talk to in the moving business, like they just struggle and struggle and struggle because they're basically getting strung along by guys that have them handcuffed and they just don't know where to go. So I'm pumped for being in Tampa next month. I'm gonna talk about some stuff I've never talked about before. And my wife and I we're in Roanoke, Virginia, and we just opened up our own moving company out here, and we're just scratch fresh into it. And I've been putting everything that I have been telling people about hiring and recruiting, I've been putting it into our own business here in Virginia. And some of the things have just been extraordinarily eye-opening, because I realized so many things that like you all go through. I started in the moving business. I started on the trucks with a College Hunks franchise in Northern Virginia. I then became a moving sales consultant. I was then a sales and marketing manager, and then I left there and started Move Up. And this next chapter, having Big Lake Moving and then taking Move Up and basically running everything that we do for, over 150, 200 moving companies all over the US, doing it on our local market, just in a matter of a couple months has shown me so many things. So, having the best people that you can possibly find is a big part. But I think a lot of folks want to hire out. I get messages every day, and owners are like, "Hey, I need 4 like stud crew lead drivers that can just go out and not have to think about it." And while yes, you can find some of those people, the truth that I tell folks is you have got to be willing to you have to have a farming system. Okay. So think about like Major League Baseball and the minor leagues that they have with the MLB and everything. They have a farming system. They have levels, they have tiers. They don't just throw people out and say like, okay, cool, you're in the show now. And in the moving business, it's just we're funny. I don't know how to explain it, but we take a guy and we interview him and we think he's amazing, and then like a week later you're done with him. It's the craziest thing. But I want to talk for a couple minutes. I want to share some thoughts that I've been chewing on the last couple weeks, and to build a rock star team, to build a bulletproof team, you really need to recruit the same way that you sell and market your business. And so, in sales, we have something called, a unique selling proposition. Okay. I hope in your business you have that too. I hope you have points, and I hope you have things that you say, okay, this is what makes us different than everyone else. Have you documented and have you systematized that for your hiring? Do you have literally bullet points that say, this is why we're a better company than all the other Joe Blow companies around us? Or have you documented, this is why we're the best home service business in a 45-mile radius for anybody that would potentially commute to our business and work here? Have you documented that? Because if you haven't at least documented, I can sure as hell promise you are not telling people that consistently. So documenting what your unique hiring proposition is. Are you bulletproof in what type of person you're looking for? So we call this your perfect avatar. All right. Have you documented, this is what an A player looks like when they come through the door? This is what an A player helper looks like. This is what an A player crew lead looks like. Whatever you guys call them, crew chief, driver, whatever. They're all the same thing. Have you documented what the perfect hire looks like? Down to the T. And we're not just talking about they show up on time, they work hard, they blah, 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 blah. They show up in uniform. We're talking about their natures, the small things and nuances of them as an individual. And then over time, you and your leadership team, or maybe it's just you, maybe you're the only leader in your business as of now, but that'll change. Your brain starts looking for that everywhere else. So you guys ever heard of, like, for example, you buy a new car. Let's say you buy I think the saying is like the blue Honda. You get a blue Honda, and literally the next week you see blue Hondas everywhere, all over the place. Why is that? Well, the blue Hondas were there all along, but your brain wasn't turned on to identify them. Hiring's the same way. There's great talent out there, especially right now. The market's gotten better. The last year, it's been much better than what it was 2 years ago. Your brain has to be programmed to identify the top talent that's there. If you don't train yourself on what to look for, then you just see a sea of people. Okay. And so pay attention everywhere you go. Recruit year round. All right. I talk about this all the time. Recruit year round. Why would you ever stop looking for great talent? I'll have a moving owner come to me and they'll be like, oh man, we're good. Like we got a full roster. We're just trying to make sure we got hours for everybody. That's fine. But then a week later, just like that, oh man, we had like 2 drivers leave. Or I had a guy, going back to school. Or I had this. And it's just always the same story. And it's like, why don't you just recruit all the time? But then you can have hiring burst. So for the moving business, because we're seasonal and we have these waves of, you have this wave of opportunity for about 4 months to just make an obscene amount of money. And it's really difficult from a staffing standpoint. So it's like, why don't you just recruit year round and get really good at recruiting, but then have hiring burst? So like right now, coming up early March, you should be having a hiring burst. And then you're going to do it basically for just every month from now on. And you've got to start training and developing you and your leadership team to look for those clues, look for the subtleties, and look for what makes A players. Walk, talk, breathe recruiting. Walk, talk, breathe your business everywhere you go. You should be able to go into a restaurant and you should be able to find 2 to 3 people that could work at your company. You go to a big enough restaurant, you go in there on a Friday or Saturday. I mean, they've got 20 people working in there. They've got 2 or 3 really great people. Now the question is, do you have the ability and the skill set and the knowledge and the desire and the hunt in you to figure out how to get those people to come join your mission? And that's the thing that a lot of owners, they just haven't developed the skill set yet. So I think I'm out of time here, but I'm going to be talking a lot more about this stuff come next month. So March 21st, 22nd, excited to see you guys.
Winston, great job as always, my man. I love your analogy on the Major League Baseball and their farm system. You're 100% spot on. And, very rarely do we get a high school player that jumps. I say a high school player, obviously relate this to the moving industry, but very rarely do we get a high school player that jumps from high school to the major leagues. It does happen, but you got to get these folks in the farm system. So spot on with it. I love hearing you talk, and I can't wait to see you in March, Winston.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
So up next, we have actually, we're getting close to the end here, everyone. We have 2 speakers left, and right after that, we're going to have the giveaway as well as a special offer. So I'd like to actually do a quick poll, if we can. We'll get a poll popped up here. Boom. So if you guys don't mind taking a couple seconds here, would having an all-in-one moving company training platform for all things moving, which includes sales, your ops, marketing, mover training, be helpful to you all? We'd love to hear your all's responses on this here. Boom. Excellent. Good. All righty. Let's jump into our second to last speaker here. We've got Wade Sweikel, who's going to be touching on how to tighten up your operations in today's climate. I'm really excited for this one. Hey, welcome, Wade. You are muted.
What's going on, everybody? I'm rising up right now. It's the special effects of having a studio since I don't have an actual stage. Picture me coming up through the floor. But no, what I want to talk about here today. So everybody that's on this call right now is in the moving industry for the most part, and I think we can all agree, for those of you who have been in business for any time at all, that this has been arguably the worst slow season, at least since I've been doing it in the last 10 years, probably since 2008. Two College Brothers has been around since 2010. I have owned a moving company, for those of you who don't know me or don't know my podcast, since 2012. Bought Two College Brothers, decided to just run with that brand, and we got into franchising earlier this year, or earlier last year, within the last 10 months. And we just opened up in San Antonio. We've got a franchise in Gainesville, which was a conversion franchise from our original location. And of course, I run the day-to-day operations here in Tampa. And I've had the privilege of talking to hundreds of moving company owners through the Grow Your Moving Company podcast, but also from going to conferences. The first moving conference I ever went to was a Louis Massaro conference in 2017. And up until that point, I mean, maybe it was 2018. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have a roadmap. And that's right around the same time I started doing the Grow Your Moving Company podcast, is because I was just looking for answers. I needed to find what the secret sauce in this business was. And the only thing, I was just at my wit's end. I'd been doing this for 5 years up until that point, and I just needed to talk to somebody who could give me something. There were no resources on Google. I would type in things and I'd find really just old videos from like the 80s, training programs from the 80s, 90s, maybe even before that were just ancient, guys out of uniforms. You guys probably know what I'm talking about if you've probably gone through the same rabbit hole of trying to find training resources, trying to learn how to protect furniture, move pianos. There was some stuff from AMSA that was the most dry, boring stuff you could possibly watch. Certainly something that I couldn't expect my movers to watch. And there was no roadmap. There was no Louis Massaro. There was no, mentorship. There was no other podcast. So I got to thinking, what if I just reach out to some people that look like they have really cool brands, really good businesses, and find out, what are they doing? See if they'll even talk to me in the first place. And to my surprise, a lot of them spoke with me, and a lot of them were very open with what they had to share. And I was like, man, this stuff would be so valuable to so many people. Let's see if we can record this. If people would be gracious enough to put these stories and these tips and all these questions that I'm asking out into the ether, and hopefully help a lot of people. I didn't know what I was going to do at the time, and ultimately led to having the longest active industry running podcast that is still going out today. And it spun off a few different things. One of them being our upcoming Titan retreat. And so I think a lot of you who have already purchased tickets that are going to be out there, but that's only given me more access to people like Tommy and Sean and Reagan and Andy Elliott, of course, Chad, all of the 8-figure moving company owners and CEOs that have spoken at past ones that are going to be speaking at these ones. And it's allowed me to just accumulate all of this knowledge from people that have been in my shoes at the size of the company that we are, and give me that roadmap, answer those questions. And when I went to that Louis Massaro conference for the first time back in 2018, I think it was right after his first one, I think it was his second one, I saw a competitor that went to the first one, and I was like, I got to be in that room, because I was just so hungry for this knowledge. I was learning so many different things that I'd just been operating in the dark, and I didn't have the money to go. I scraped together every last penny I could, got the cheapest Airbnb I could find, used some enterprise points from truck rentals to rent a car, and just scraped together as much money as I could to get in the door. And it just totally opened my eyes and just set us on a path to just skyrocket our business and be able to be in a room and have conversations with those 8-figure companies that I still talk to today, that have been guests on the podcast and all these different things. So, that has been huge. But when this recession came, I thought I had it all figured out. We're franchising, we've got systems, processes, all these different things that I've learned over the years from all these other different things. And all of a sudden the market just stops. It comes to a screeching halt in like October. And so I'm like, shoot, like we had just basically scrapped our entire sales team. We had hired on a ton of people. We're opening up these new locations. We're looking at franchise support. I'm looking at offices to set up a franchising headquarters. We've got all these things in motion. We're at 100% growth for the year in 2023 up until 2022. And it was like this past October, just like, it was our first month in 2 years where it wasn't higher than the previous year's same month. And it wasn't just higher, it was like 30% lower. And so it really forced me to take a step back and say, what do we need to do back from a fundamental standpoint to get to the basics? I mean, we've been rolling so high for so long, and it forced me to make some really, really tough decisions. I had to have some difficult conversations with some employees that I absolutely love that helped get us to be a $6 million company with the 2 locations, and then opening a third location in San Antonio. And I had to lay some people off. We trimmed about 2/3 of our office staff. We're probably over staffed because I was laying all this groundwork, all this blueprints for all this massive growth that we had been experiencing for the past 3 years. And I had to get really dialed in and put on a lot of different hats on. You see me wearing the Moving Titan Retreat hat right now. But I had to get down to the nuts and bolts, and I had to figure out, okay, like, listen, if we continue on this path, we've got about 4 weeks left in the tank with this many people. If sales continue on this trajectory, we got to make some actions fast. Like, we got to cut some people. And it's going to be tough. I'm going to have to make some very difficult decisions. We're going to have to dial in the marketing. We've been throwing so many things at the wall. We have all this marketing going on. What is actually working? And what is a satisfactory ROI for marketing in the off season? Louis Massaro say 10x. Well, I question that. I started to question a lot of these things that I had learned in 2017 and 2018 and 2019. I think I've been to like 6 conferences out West, and it helped get me to where I was, but it didn't help prepare me for a crash where things got really tight, and I had to look at every single dollar and where every single dollar was going. So what was the true ROI that I had to get down to in marketing? What were expenses and what were investments? We were buying a lot of stupid shit, like these pens. How much is a pen? We'd spend $500 on 1,000 of these things. And like, what does this bring in any new revenue? Or is this just kind of like a fun little thing to have around the office to stay on brand? And it forced me to look at every single little thing that was an expense and what was going to actually continue to help our company grow. And so I'm going to talk a lot more about this when I have a little bit more time on the stage in March, in about less than a month, about 3 weeks. But it's forced me to look at every little area of my life, my relationships. It's forced me to look at how I spend my time. I realized I'm driving to my office that's 45 minutes away from my house. I love where I live, but my office happens to be across the bridge, if you know Tampa Bay. And that's adding up to 40 hours a month. I'm losing an entire week of productivity commuting to the office every day. How necessary is it that I commute to the office every day when I could be working on business development? We started doing business development assignments to our entire team every single day. We built out a spreadsheet with hundreds of people that could potentially refer us. And every single day during a morning sales huddle, we assign one of those contacts to somebody to work and follow up. And so we've been every single day. And so the theory was, if we assign these to 10 different people every single day, over the course of a year, we're going to touch over 3,600 potential referral partners. Think about that. 3,600 potential referral partners. We're not taking orders anymore. We got to get aggressive. We got to call people. We got to actively reach out, friend them on social media. Shit, friend your customers on social media. Show them that you're a real person. Put a face behind the name. Tell your salespeople to build relationships. They have to be going to networking events at least twice a month. They have to be touching base with the person that they're assigned to on the biz dev every single day and following up with them and adding them on LinkedIn and following them on Instagram and friending them on Facebook and DMing them and trolling all of the different forums, the neighborhood Facebook groups, the mom Facebook groups, typing in moving so that the algorithm will automatically start to populate moving at the top of your news feed every single day that you log on and somebody's looking for reputable movers, and then sending it out to your whole team to pile on, to jump on there, sending video messages to them, sending links to your website, looking for the differentiators on what's differentiating you. Relationships, and you heard Reagan talk about this before, are going to be the only way out of this, to be able, out of this shakeup, to be able to come out on top and gain up market share. Because guess what's happening? Moving companies are just doing all the same advertising they've always done, and they're not going out and doing the hard part and building relationships. They're being lazy. So what that's doing is it's driving up the cost of those pay-per-click and those lead sources and those marketing sources, and forcing moving companies to have to do more advertising, spend more money, while also driving their prices down and forcing them to race to the bottom to see who can be the cheapest, because they're all advertising in the same places. So when you're spending more in marketing and you're spending less, or you're charging less to your customers, that is a very quick way to go out of business. So the only way to circumvent that and to establish yourself in a different way is to build actual relationships with your existing client base. Hopefully you have an email list of 15,000 people or more over the last 10 years, if you've been in business for 10 years or longer. Build those relationships. Reach out to people whose leases are expiring, that you may have moved a year ago, that look like renters, that look like 2 bedrooms and less, or you can tell in your CRM if they happen to be a renter. Look for those people that you can call. Friend them on Facebook. Go to your USA home listings. Look for the people that have just listed a home or gone on pending. Friend them on social media. Follow them, LinkedIn, whatever you do. Reach out to skip trace that stuff. There's so many different things, but you got to build relationships to stand out in this market. You got to look for every single place in your business and in your personal life and in your time that you can tighten it up. And I'm going to be going into so many more of these details next month. Hope to see you out there. I think I'm running out of time here. We kick it back to Ryan, and then Chad's going to close us out.
No, great job, Wade, as always. And I'll tell you, the one thing I truly love, man, is anytime I hear you speak or we chat, your transparency, your passion, and your honesty just shines right through. And this industry has been underserved in many, many ways, and in a lot of things. And what you all are doing with the Tighten Up training program in the Titan team is absolutely incredible. And as a former mover of 12 plus years, I personally thank you. And I can see in the chat box here, I mean, everybody's loving what you're doing. And I greatly appreciate you having me on here with this one. But we have one more speaker left, everybody, before we get into the giveaway. So with that, love to introduce Chad Coatney with the Power of Networking. How's it going, Chad?
Good. Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it. All right, guys. I know we've already heard everybody talk about networking and health and fitness, but there's a reason for that. It's because it's so damn important, and it actually changed my life. So networking to me is like building a garden. you know, when you're building a garden, you want to start with a base of just some of the most nutrient rich soil that you can find. That's going to be your ideal network, right? And then you going to that soil and planting seeds is you building relationships with those people. So you plant your seeds and then you want to nurture those relationships. You want to stay in touch. You want to water those seeds. And then you want to protect those relationships. You know, you want to spray the insecticide and pull weeds and, you know, protect those relationships. Don't burn bridges. And then eventually those seeds are going to grow into harvestable plants with fruits and vegetables, which will be your nuggets and the value that you're going to get out of those relationships to help you grow as a person and as a company and as, you know, a business. So I like to I like to hunt, I like to fish, I like to garden. So there's nothing better than just like harvest it, growing your own stuff, harvest it and actually, you know, eating it. But so a little bit about me. I'm 10 years in the business. The first 6 years of my business, I got my ass kicked. I was a penny smart and a dollar stupid. I wasn't spending money on marketing or networking or going to seminars. I didn't even have a CRM in year 6. I was literally pen and paper. And I was wearing all the hats. I had the sales manager hat, I had the ops manager hat, I had the dispatch hat, I had the customer service hat. I was the one doing all the bills. Literally, I was chained, handcuffed to my business, and we were doing about $800,000 in year 6. And I literally got home one night and I was just like ready to just throw in the towel. And Wade is the person I always call when I have a problem. So I called him. I was literally sitting in the middle of my yard, just like, what the hell am I doing wrong, dude? And he invited me out to a mastermind seminar that was in Scottsdale, Arizona, with a bunch of other moving company owners. And I was like, you know, what he's like, it's gonna be a couple grand. I'm like, okay, whatever, dude. I'll anything to stop the bleeding right now. So I went out there and it was a bunch of moving company owners that were way farther along than me. I felt out of place before, you know, before I even got there. I just feel like I wasn't going to fit in. I wasn't going to belong. These guys were going to think I'm stupid. And, you know, I was completely wrong. And those guys welcomed me with open arms and pretty much like, and we talked moving the whole weekend, but it pretty much just like a light bulb went off in my head. And I'm like, man, this is, they laid out the exact path of everything that was working for them. And I just had to go home and implement. And, you know, getting that information from trusted people that are actually implementing it, you know, in their day to day is the best place to get the information. So I went home, I opened a storage facility, and 2 months after that, 10,000 square foot warehouse with a new office in there. And we ended up outgrowing that in about a year. And I actually had to tear down the office in there and build out another one in the same building. So we grew to like 335 vaults in about a year. I doubled my business year after year. This was about 2 years ago. So it was a game changer for us. They taught me how to run my business off my P&L. Now I just look at reports and percent of income and I can see if things are off in my business. I've been able to put a management team into place where I have a GM, I have an ops manager, I have a dispatch, I have a warehouse manager, and literally like my life is good now. You know, it's going to get a lot better. I'm not stopping. I want to grow. But it's just, I'm not that sad kid sitting in the middle of his yard wondering what the hell I'm doing with my life. Um, Another opportunity I got from networking with the right people was during COVID. We all know there was a truck shortage. You know, it was a year to get a truck. And luckily, one of the OG Titans that I met, you know, at one of the masterminds has been in the business a lot longer than we were. And somebody came to him, it was FedEx returned 5 trucks and he offered it to us first, you know, and I ended up scooping up 2 of those trucks. And I mean, think about how much that made me, at least $250,000 per truck. And I mean, we charge, I would say it would be a lot more money than that, you know, and that's in my mind, that's off a $2,000 investment. So if I could go back and think about it, would I, you know, I would have paid 50 to 100 grand if I knew what I knew now of what I would have gotten out of masterminding with the right people. And not only that, man, we're all still in a Facebook group today. We still chat all the time. We still keep each other up to date on new technology and industry trends, and share marketing secrets and share equipment deals. And if we need something done with a software that we're all using, we'll kind of gang up together and help put some pressure on the software companies. Another huge thing that I learned from them being around successful people is that these guys are always investing in themselves in ways of they're working out every day, they're reading every day, they're listening to podcasts, they're going to seminars to stay sharp. I learned the best investment you can make in yourself. And you can ask Wade and the other Titans that I'm obsessed with personal development now, because my ROI is out of this world. I spent $29,000 on a sales training course for my whole team this year or last year. And with a coach. I have a personal trainer. I have a nutritionist. I'm in the middle of 75 hard right now. I wasn't even working out when I met those guys in Scottsdale a couple years ago. And now I'm doing 75 hard. I got like 19 days left. I'm getting jacked. So, it's just good to be part of a community of brothers, like-minded individuals. It gets lonely at the top of your business, and there's not a lot of people that you can relate to. And finding those other moving company owners or business owners that are on, like-minded and on the same mission has really just changed my life, and it's got me on the right track, and opened a lot of doors for me. Now, that's why Wade and I started the Moving Titan Retreat, is because we saw how much just that weekend benefited us. We're like, we have to bring this to everyone else, because we don't want you guys to have to go through all the shit that we went through in the first 5-6 years of our business. We want you to have it now and the answers now, and save that stress and headache, because we know how tough of a time that was for us. And I think that's about it, Ryan. That's about all I got.
Excellent. Nice job as always, Chad. If
Thank you.
if you get Wade to pop on, this is where I'm going to turn this over to you all here. You guys got some special giveaway and some other sweet things to close out this conference, I'm hearing. But and I
Sure.
appreciate you, Wade and Chad, for allowing Supermove to partner with you guys on this webinar. It's been a blast as always. It's always fun working with you folks, and it's great working with brilliant minds. So I'm going to sign off from here. Let you two all take it over, and we'll see you guys soon in March.
Hey, thanks, Ryan.
Take care,
Thanks,
guys.
Ryan.
Whoop.
Chad, David Maskins wants to know what coach I am to you. What would you say to that?
Which coach are you to Chad? He's probably my morals coach.
Yeah, I try to keep him out of jail most of the time.
Yeah. He's my accountability partner. Wade pushes me to be better, and I push him to be better. And that's
you do. You do. We work well
that's
together.
how we keep growing together.
That's right. That's right. Well, thank you guys all for joining us here. We want to do a giveaway here. We don't want to keep everybody too much longer, because we all got to go continue to get dialed in and tightening up our operations. But thanks for listening to us. And we were really excited that Tommy and Sean and Reagan and Winston and John and everybody could join us for a little sneak peek at the upcoming Moving Titan Retreat. It's going to be awesome. Like what we've talked about before, of course, Andy Elliott, you guys saw him last week on the Virtual Movers Conference. And I mean, he goes kind of without saying that he's a sales expert, but we understand that he doesn't necessarily resonate with everybody, but that's why we lined up 14 different speakers, and we want to see as many people there as possible. We've got room for several hundred moving company owners. We've already got several hundred that have already bought tickets. We want to fill this thing out and just open up more networking opportunities, more opportunities to learn from some of the greatest sales trainers and business people in the service industry in the world, really. I mean, how many $200 million moving or companies in general have you ever got to hear speak, or do you know, that are actually in the trenches up on a stage with Tommy and everybody else? And it's going to be awesome. I mean, we're doing it right. It's going to be a great time. We like to have fun, but this is all about business. This is all about networking. This is all about learning some takeaways. So without further ado, Chad, let's give away some tickets, or at least a ticket. I don't know what we're allowed to give away and what we're not.
And can Faith pop on?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, Faith. First, you go ahead and pick the winner.
All right, so you have to be on to join. And my little randomized picker. Let's go. We have Ted Cotter.
Hi, Ted.
Ted!
Cotter.
Oh man, I haven't seen Ted in a while. Are you still on, Ted? Give it 2 in the chat if you are. There he is.
Yo, there he is. Good
Can we
job,
bring
Ted.
Ted on here? We don't have to do that. We're not gonna do that to Ted. All right, Ted, we'll get with Faith. And you know what? I'm feeling kind of crazy right now, Chad.
Dude,
I might give away another one.
Don't you do it.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Let's see here. Who else do we have? I'm just gonna randomly scroll on my chat here and just pick a name. I don't know who this is, but he asked about my podcast. So let's introduce Colas Brown to the Moving Titan Retreat.
Yeah, what's up, Colas?
Company podcast. Colas Brown.
Hey, and something I wanted to say too, Wade, off your Andy Elliott comment, how he doesn't resonate with everyone. You know, not everyone is going to resonate with you 100%, but there is still a lot of value in reading between the lines and seeing what you do like and what you want to leave behind, you know, what you want to put in your toolbox and what you don't. So Tommy may be in the garage door business. Andy may be a little too intense for some people, but it doesn't mean that he doesn't have some really good nuggets for you to take home with you and implement in your own way.
Yeah, I mean, once you get to know him, like obviously everything you've probably seen from Andy online is like intense, like yelling at you, in your face like a drill sergeant. But we've worked really closely with him over the last several months. We've spent a lot of time just in a small room, you know, just Chad and I and maybe 1 or 2 other people. And he really does care. I mean, he's got a much more human, gentle side that he just wants to see people succeed, and he uses that bravado to get in front of more people and to get people to just listen to what he has to say. And he cares a lot. He really truly does. And you know, once you see him in person, you'll understand what I'm saying with that. But we hope to see some people there.
When we go to the Lions Den, which is Andy's office with all of his salespeople, like literally we walk in there and these people, every one of them has to come up to you and greet you and shake your hand or give you a hug. And you're like, man, I just met these people, but they're like the nicest people in the world. And the energy is through this roof. And I can tell you what, there is not like a minute that goes by that all those guys aren't on their phone smiling and dialing. Like they are the hungriest salespeople I've ever seen before in my life. We can get our sales team to act even half that aggressive, like, you know, work half that hard, we'd be in good shape.
Absolutely. Chad, what should we do for everybody else who didn't win a ticket here today? Let's do something for everybody who stayed on and is still tuned in right now.
Let's extend the same offer we offered at the last webinar.
$9.97, basically 50% off, $1,000 off.
50% off, yeah. The tickets for GA only.
Okay, I like that. Let's do it.
Okay.
So if you guys are still on here and you haven't bought your ticket, the retreat is in, what is it, in about 25 days from now. We are extending an offer to everybody who tuned in today for $9.97, $1,000 off, over 50% off of general admission tickets. Scan this QR code to take advantage of that offer. It's not going to get any cheaper than that. I mean, that has been the absolute lowest promotional price that we've done for the Moving Titan Retreat. That was the early bird special pricing, and we've only given that away one other time on the Movers Conference. And so this will be it. I mean, we're getting close. We're getting close to crunch time. We just want to help. We know it's been a tough, slow season. I totally get that. I'll be the first one to tell you guys that this off season, it's been challenging for a lot of people, but there's really 2 choices you can make. You can curl up in a ball and freeze, or you can fight. You know, it's fight or flight. And if you choose flight, there's really nothing else I can do for you if you want to run away from the problems. But if you want to face these problems that we've all endured over the last few months head on and do something about it and gain market share when this shakeout is over and be positioned to take your business to the next level, come fight. And we're trying to make this as affordable as we possibly can. We've already sunk hundreds of thousands of dollars into this event. I'm not even lying. And it's, you know, we're not doing it to make money. We're doing it to help elevate the entire industry so that we can all make money in our day-to-day businesses, so that we can all raise prices and erase a stigma that exists across the moving industry where people view us as a commodity, because there's been a lot of bad players in the past that are dinosaurs that are going to go the way of the dinosaurs. And we're trying to change that. And so we're doing that because we want to help more moving companies, because if there's anything I've learned from the podcast is if you can help other people, it just opens doors. So we're just trying to open doors for everybody and connect and build this network and make it something as big as we possibly can. So if money, we don't want money to be the thing that holds you back. If there's anything else that is out of our control, you know, talk to us. We'll try to put our heads together. But yeah, enjoy that discount. We're only going to be doing this for, I think, what, the rest of today? Is that the plan? Is it just valid
Yep.
today? Cool. Well, this
Come
link is
tighten up
coming
with
down
us in
tomorrow.
March. You guys won't regret it. It's going to be a heck of a time, and grow that network, build that garden.
Let's do it. Let's tighten up, guys. That concludes everything. Faith, if you want to leave or Ryan, whoever's running the value here, if you can leave the QR code up, and we'll sign off.
Yeah, we'll pop the QR code up for another minute or so. Does that work for you, Wade?
Sure.
Awesome.
Thank you guys all for tuning in.
Good. Anybody can get a chance to scan? Now's your time. We'll leave it up for another minute or so, and then we'll conclude the conference. We will leave it up until the last person signs off. Looks like we still got 60 some odd left.
Cool. Hey, Ryan, thanks for putting this all together, man. It was awesome.
Hey, Chad, I appreciate you guys, and look forward to seeing you all March 21st and March 22nd. You guys are doing great things, so I appreciate what you do for this industry.
Thanks, man.
Absolutely.
And I'll see you tomorrow too, or Wednesday. Yeah, tomorrow.
Tomorrow's Wednesday.
That's right.
Yeah.
But thanks, guys.
Take care, Wade. Thank you so much.